Well, long time no see, folks. It's Tuesday, huh? 11 o'clock at night. I gotta stop coming at, you know, the dead hours of the night to do these things. Actually, had a good day at the tax man. I was pretty damn surprised. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Got my dumbass here actually invested in this mic, and having carefully set it up right now, I've made the decision that my dumbass should have just bought a gaming headset. You know, like back in the old days when you were playing SOCOM and Call of Duty. God, those were the days, weren't they? To go back to 2002 to 2006 again. But here we are 20 years later, and who knows with everything going on right now. So I'm going to put off the. I'm going to try to do the Bathory album rankings tomorrow and a separate video on like more of an analysis on the shifts in the albums and themes like that. Make those two separate videos, not one giant 35, 40-minute conglomerate like I've been doing. And I couldn't help but notice that on playback, even with this new microphone, yeah, my voice still sounds kind of raspy, and maybe I'm not animated enough. So it could be that the problem is just me. Now, what else is new, right? And I'm gonna actually take a drink more. I don't care. It's already going off the walls, and I'm rambling. So for today, I gave three quick spins to Gentle Giant's 1976 album, Interview. This is number 8 overall. John Weathers on drums, the brothers Derek and Ray Schulman on vocals, saxes, bass, violin. Well, Derek mostly does the vocals and the saxes. The other brother Phil had left after Octopus, the fourth album in '72. Gary Green on guitars and Kerry Manier on keyboards. Now, as a whole, Interview was seen as not as critical and commercially successful at the time because the band had really hit the essentially peak radio and sales play the album before with Freehand. But that being said, this is for Gentle Giant. And anybody who doesn't know, they're, how do I put this? Maybe the most intricate or extreme, maybe hard to or difficult to wrap your head around everything that goes on. There's excellent use of volume, different style changes, different time signatures left and right. I don't want to say that they're the Frank Zappa of prog, but there is a lot going on and a lot to digest with Gentle Giant. And if I got to give my opinion, I would say for anybody new or who likes Genesis, especially the Gabriel era. I mean, there are times where Derek really sounds like Peter Gabriel, and a little like Phil too, because this came out right around the time that Genesis dropped their arguably biggest or second or third biggest album, and it was Trick of the Tail, the first one with Phil on lead vocals, and then later in the year they'd have the much darker, moodier, slightly depressing Wind and Wuthering, but plenty of stuff on Genesis all around. I would spit this somewhere. I would say Gentle Giant is Genesis, King Crimson, yes, all those things, and a bit more fusion, and occasionally, I don't want to say tribal, but they get those time signatures that could fit on something like Osabisa without being all the way tribal. But that's a whole other different story, isn't it? Osabisa, I love that band. So with this album, we've got another concept where, much like Nazareth, with Close Enough to Rock and Roll and this little mini opera Telegram, here we've got Interview, another show, and I believe it's Oh I Lost My Head, which are the concept, and especially those three songs. Always an Empty City. That's what I get for not listening to it an eighth time and double checking. triple checking. But the idea is it's partly question and answer, the rock star answering questions and thinking about things in his head as he goes from one place to another. Um, Pretty straightforward to follow through. I think that overall, like I was saying before, if you're not sure if you can handle a even more intricate or extreme King Crimson or Yes or early Genesis, I mean, they do everything that all those bands do, but they do it in like 5 minutes per song, usually, later on. So it's kind of nuts to hear all the gaps, the pauses, another instrument comes in quietly, and then boom, it takes off into... It goes off the rails. Extremely intelligently done, though. It's not like we're throwing 20 things at the wall and seeing what happens. It's not a total... it's not a total piece together of like... Supper's Ready came to be with Piecemeal or even, damn, a random Miles Davis concert in 1970. This is very all extremely well written by very accomplished musicians, even if you don't really know their names. So like on Give It Back, instead of just being a straightforward prog track for 5 minutes, you'll get some reggae elements. You'll get some funk bits and pieces in design. And I think that ties to the idea that the long form of prog was pretty much starting to hit the wall by 76. I think the longest Yes song, Awaken, is like 12, 15 minutes. And even then, at this stage of the game, the only bands willing to go with extreme lengths were going to be Pink Floyd, the very next album. Wish You Were Here the year before. And fortunately, nobody told Rush that the prog epic was dying out as a fad and everything like that, because they proved everything wrong in the end. Much to my eternal happiness. You know how it goes. So for me, song choices here, another show. I really love Empty City. There's a lot more going on, especially if you listen to these Steve Wilson remixes. He brings out any hidden elements, but to their credit, it's especially with this album, because I think Kerry got a new keyboard or a new set at that point in time, and the keyboard is all over this album, but in a good way. But he is way up in the mix. I'm not complaining. I used to be as a kid, they thought I was a piano prodigy, and I still love tinkering with it from time to time. But for the newbie, this is a very good start. I would, for the sake of slightly better production, slightly more accessible, it's a lot more accessible perhaps to some because of the commercial aspects of some of the songs. Freehand might be just a little bit more of an entry point or an accessible point for the new people, especially if they're not even used to King Crimson and they only know Popular Yes or post 77 Genesis. But I would put this as a close second if I was going to introduce somebody new-ish to prog. If they already know what it is, and there are times on this album I was thinking of Lark's Tongues and Aspic all the way back from 72. If they know what prog is, and they haven't tried this band, then maybe you can ease them in, throw them something daunting like Octopus or Power and the Glory from 74. But for the average noob, Freehand and this great album, Interview. Sorry for ranting so long. I thought it best to try to explain, because some people who check this out going now or going forward are going to be like, what the hell is Gentle Giant? And then you go listen to them and say, this is blowing my mind. Why haven't I heard this before? Well, you always got to research and find new things, try some stuff out. But I'm going to sign off for right now. I got to stop saying but. Yet, because it's almost 11:30, and I got a couple other things I still wanted to do. Jesus. But there I go again. And there's the dead air. Oh well. Oh well, I'm running out of ideas, and I'm going to need another drink and pull a Marco Rubio back in the day if I do it. So I'm just going to say good night, folks. See you in hell, my friends.